As a little introductory note, for those of you who don't have English as a first language, and you might wonder why some British watch nerds laugh at the brand Tandorio, because it sounds a little bit like a popular Indian dish that we have back home. I'll try and explain this as I go along, and we'll have a look at a couple of their watches. Here are some examples of tandoors, in which you would make a tandoori meat dish. Here, if you like, is an etymology of the word tandoor. Here is a typical Tandorio watch with the Tandorio logo on it. Well then, so apart from the brand, what have these two pieces got in common? Well, they both have a sterile dial. I didn't really want the Tandorio logo on the dial. That's just me being fussy. There's nothing wrong with it really. You see far worse, and not just on AliExpress. So both of these have a sapphire crystal, and they both have automatic movements. This is where they start to differ slightly. So the orange one on the right has a Seiko NH34 Caller GMT. Has a date window for that. The field watch on the left has a PT 5000 high beat movement, and I'm going to demonstrate these on the time grapher shortly for you. Well, I wound and set both of these watches 2 days ago from the time of filming, and the time grapher states that the Tandorio is losing 11 seconds a day. Well, in fact, if you check that, seconds hand, over 2 days it's actually lost something in the order of 35 seconds. So that would say something like about 17, 18 seconds a day, running a bit slow after 2 days. So I'm not sure if the time grapher is telling the truth, but perhaps at that angle that's what it was doing. Yeah. So there we are on that. As for the Tandorio, it claims that the watch is losing 1 or 2 seconds there. Good amplitude, beat-up is okay, and in the interest of fair play and good sportsmanship, I've put them both at the same angle on the time grapher. But if we compare it with the actual clock, you'll see that it's actually gained a couple of seconds over the last 2 days. I set both this and the GMT according to this clock on my phone, which as long as I'm online it keeps absolutely the correct time. So yeah, as you can see, it's gained a couple of seconds. So I don't know whether the time grapher needs recalibrating or it's just sensing some different things. See, with both of the watches, the amplitude and the beat error are basically all right. So I suppose the first part of my Tandorio takeaway is that I haven't had much luck with AliExpress watches with Seiko automatic movements. I'm not particularly impressed with the GMT that I showed you. This in fact was the only one I got from them, this kind of Hamilton Pilot knockoff, and it has an NH38 in it, and the fact that I'm showing you an AliExpress picture would suggest that I no longer have this watch. In fact, that's true. When I was in London in August, this is one of the pieces I took with me, and I met with a friend, and he's a bit of a watch nerd, and I showed him 5 different pieces, including this one, and he made straight for this, no hesitation, which speaks volumes for his good taste. I might actually get this watch again next year sometime, and because I do like it, and it was actually quite accurate, which I can't say the same for the other Seiko automatic movements that I've had from them. Part 2 is that these Tandorio watches don't have any loom worth shouting about. The GMT looks fine now, but you probably noticed that the hands have died already. The field watch on the right, you might just be able to make out. It's not very impressive either. So there's that. Still, part 2 of my Tandorio takeaway suggests that other than things like the loom, they're quite well made watches, for the money, as I would say. I think they both cost about £70 a piece when I bought them. I've put them both on different straps from what I got, and yeah, they're comfy. I particularly like the bezel on this thing. It angles upwards a bit, so it's very comfortable. It doesn't stick into your fingers, especially my fat little fingers when I work the bezel. It's a bit a bit tinny, but it's a bit of back play, but not a lot. And unlike the genuine article, Seiko, which is a bit bigger, I think, in the case, it should, yeah, you might see it from that, it does line up quite neatly. And the GMT works without a problem, so does the date. The field watch, if anything, is a bit better. Got a nice case on it. There's some slightly sharp edges on the lugs there, but it doesn't matter because that doesn't impinge on your wrist in any way, even on my fat flesh. I put a green tropic strap on this that I got from a steel dive with an NH35, which I conked out long ago. You know, out of guarantee, of course. I've had this one about 3 years. I got it just after my previous trip to the UK, so it's really quite nice. I like the numerals on it because they're very easy for my old eyes to read, and the loom's not terrible to the naked eye. It doesn't show up too well on camera. Anything else I can say? Yeah, I've got 2 other watches with the PT 5000, another steel dive, and my Proxima. This is probably the best working one. It's the most accurate of the 3, and this was, as I say, this was probably the cheapest of the 3. So there you go on that. So that's part 2. Is there a part 3 to my Tandorio takeaway? Well, I don't think so much. As I say, they're both, you know, good value, well made for what they are. Of course, there are flaws, especially in this GMT here. I think, yeah, I might have to take the back off and regulate it at some point. But as for the PT 5000 on the field watch here, I've got no issues really with it. And well, that's all for today really, because I've got these 2. These have been in my collection quite a while. So it's about 2.5 years, and as I say, this has been about 3 years. And yeah, perhaps I don't bring them out of the box as often as I should, but I do enjoy them. This one's nice and simple. Maybe this one, even with a sterile dial, is a bit fussy, so that's the worst you could say. Alright, well, say it's Friday the 21st of November. I hope everybody has a lovely weekend, and yeah, remember, I'm not in this for subscribers or likes, although those are very nice. What I really want are just views and comments. So, as for your comments, you know, say what you like as long as it's reasonably polite and constructive, perhaps in the criticism of my videography. Because I know I'm not the world's best at it, but I have got a bit better over a period of years. I have to, otherwise nobody would watch at all. So, as I said, have a great weekend, and I'll be back at you soonish, I hope. In the meantime, take care, and ta-da for now.